Evening to everybody. So welcome to this session. I'm Kavil Ramachandran. I'm the professor and executive director at the Thomas Mithani Center for Family Enterprise at the Indian School of Business. I'm based out of the Hyderabad campus. Today we have a very well distinguished and one of my most favorite, most respected guests with us, Dr. Manu Chandaria, to share some of his experiences, lifelong experiences of building a family business as well as his philanthropic initiatives. So, but before introducing him, before getting into the conversation with him, I would like to talk a little bit about what we do at ISB in the context of family business. So the journey began in 2001. 2001 was the year when the Indian School of Business was set up as a 100% philanthropic initiative by industry in India and outside. I joined here as a founding faculty, and soon we realized that there was none, literally none involved in promoting family business education in India. Nobody was studying family businesses, although our research has shown that 91% of the listed companies in India, and listed companies are only few, 5,000 plus or 7,000, not more than that. And we have hundreds and thousands of companies in the country. And most of them are family controlled and family managed, but nobody was studying that. So 2003, we were fortunate to have the support of Professor John Ward, who is always considered as the guru, the pioneer of studies on family business across the world. Professor Ward has been the leading limelight at the Kellogg School of Management. So Professor Ward and I joined hands to start a training program on family business in 2003. By 2006, our activities became known to many, many people. And Dr. Thomas Mithani, whose photo is there, he is a very wealthy individual industrialist in Switzerland with a huge investment, huge interest and involvement in philanthropy. So he came forward and supported our initiatives that enabled us to expand the scope of our activities when he's supported by the creation of a chair of family business and wealth management. And I was appointed as the chair professor there. And that enabled us to expand our activities. And one of the major things we did, besides many others, was starting a conference, a biennial conference in 2008. This is called the Asian Invitational Conference on Family Business. The reason for this is that we recognized and felt the urgent need to educate business families about the potential, about the need to address their governance and professionalization challenges and learn from the experiences of very successful family businesses within India and outside. And then this became a benchmark for family business conferences. And incidentally, the 8th Family Business Conference, Asian Invitational Conference on Family Business, will be held on February 6th, 13th, and 14th in the virtual mode. And we request all of you to register and join, to listen, to network, and learn from each other. Okay. And then we expanded further. And 2015, Dr. Thomas Mithani came forward and decided to enhance his support, and the chair was upgraded to a family business center. So currently it is called Thomas Mithani Center for Family Enterprise. And since the last 5 years, we have been having wonderful activities around research, publication, case writing, training programs, and many, many other things. Now, We will be in touch with you. We will have your mail IDs. We will continue to update you with our activities, including the conference and the webinars that are coming. Okay, so this is the Asian Invitational Conference on Family Enterprise. We will be sending you details later, but please make a note in your calendar that February 6th, 13th, and 14th half days, we will have the conference. And this is the future of family business. And we are focusing on the entire family. The entire family can attend this conference since it is the virtual mode from anywhere in the world. Now, coming back, let me welcome Dr. Manupai Chandaria. And for me, he is always known as Manupai. And very briefly, when I've known him for many years, and for the purpose of this conversation, I asked his office, I asked him to send a brief profile of his. And the profile came, but it did not mention anything about the business. And that's Manupai. Manupai is the person who is the past chairman. He's the person who is responsible for the creation or the expansion and growth of the Chandaria empire across the world. They are present in 40 countries, multiple businesses, but very subdued. Most of the companies have their own names, and generally they don't use the Chandaria name to have a corporate umbrella name. Okay, so therefore, Manupai has been the steering person behind the success of the Manupai Chandaria empire across the world. The family lives in all the continents. There are 55 family members at the moment in the family, and they are all combined together to build the Chandaria empire. And Manupai has redefined his role in the business, and he is no longer active in the business. After completing his innings as the leader of the business, he has moved on, he has changed his portfolio. 100% of his time is spent on philanthropy. And I got the details of his business from my past records as well as from the published information. So Manupai is Dr. Manupai Chandaria is OBE, CBS, and EBS. These are the degrees awarded to him. He is the founding chairman of the East African Business Council and the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. In 2003, Her Majesty of Britain, Queen Elizabeth II, conferred an OBE, Order of the British Empire, in recognition of his community work and promotion of Kenyan economic interests. And there are several of recognitions for him. I'm not going to read out anything more. But one other point I want to mention is that he was appointed the Chancellor of the Technical University of Kenya in 2013. And currently he is actively involved in the Chandaria Foundation, which is involved in many, many activities across. He is young at 92, but very, very active, very vibrant. And I have always had fond memories of interacting with him and his wife, Arunaben. So namaskar to both of them. Thank you very much, Manupai, for joining the conversation. And let me stop sharing the screen, and I would like to get into the discussion. We have 400 plus registrations with us, and we hope to have the large number of people joining. We have a large number of people already there, and many people are constantly joining. And I request them to write down any of their questions that I will mix with some of the points that I'm going to discuss with Manupai. Manupai, once again, welcome to the session. So let me recollect one of the points that you had mentioned. was the family harmony is fundamental to the success of a family business. So you had mentioned it in the occasions when you have spoken at the family business conference. So what do you think are the key building blocks of the maintaining harmony in the Chandaria family context?
Well, good afternoon, Professor Ramchandran and all other people who are joining this evening. And I'm glad that Ms. Ward's name is always there when family business is considered. The question is that it requires to have a family together, requires confidence and trust in each other.
Right.
The family would never function unless this is fundamental, that come may what, but trust in each other, the confidence that you got in each other, and the and then the hard work that goes with it, the vision that you are pushing has to be all together. I think that this is the most important part for a family. Now, the respect and attitude of hard work is another building block within the family. Respect is not only to your family members, but respect to all that works with you. Your bankers, your suppliers, your producers, your markets, your staff, everybody. Unless and until there's basis of respect with each other, must be is the most important part. And always continue to work on the vision of the family. You can be working away, but you must keep in behind your mind all the time. Yeah, that there is a vision. And the vision is always to do good business, honest business, but at the same time, good social work also. So I think that this is the fundamental aspect that I think is which makes a good family. Now, when you give me to 5 or 10 minutes, then I'll tell you a story of my
Please.
Okay.
So
My
I
father.
was going to ask you actually.
Yeah. Okay. My father came down to Kenya in 1916, which is already 104 years back, because he came from the hard family difficulties, where he was from part of Gujarat where rain was very difficult. And if it rained well, then the Maharajas had a bigger stake on yourself. So in that circumstances, he came down to this country to earn, and it was simply 4,000 rupees. Until 1923, the Kenya had one currency, and that was rupees, just like Indian, because it was managed from India as an Indian empire, managed their colonies. So he decided that if I can get 4,000 rupees, I'll go back to India and I will work and maintain my family. Now, my father had only done 3 vernacular. He could not read, write, or speak English. And in the colonial circumstances, not being able to communicate is very difficult. So first thing he did is to start work for a company, for a little shop. And he was a hard-working man. His timing was 6 in the morning until 12 at midnight. 3 meals a day at owner's home. And then at night, open up textile rolls or textiles on the shop and sleep, and get up again back 6 in the morning. But it created in him an understanding of business for the first time in his life, because he was very young and he had never done any businesses, but he started understanding. After 6 months, he asked his employer, what will be my salary? And he said that you are very hardworking. We have good news from everybody. All the clients we touch you, they all speak good about you. So we're going to give you a 20 rupees a month, 120 rupees in 6 months. And at that time, he was just shocked because his dreams of 4,000 rupees would just vaporize, went away from his head. That how I'm going to earn that kind of money so that I can go back. So 4,000 is not a possibility, but he did not give up. And that's what the strength of a family is, that the minute a family member or anybody in a family or an individual gives up, that's the start of a downward hill. You cannot, you might hurt again, you might fail again, you might fail 10 times, but giving up is the worst thing that in life that one could do. So first thing is that never give up. Whether you win or you're on the other side of the losing side, never give up. Because if you really give up, then it ends there. So he decided to start on his own. And in the first year, in the second year, he's made enough profit to feel, oh, I can do it. And there's another question is that's that confidence that you must have within yourself when you grow and when you do something and you succeed. That is the biggest, energizer for a person to do something. And so that really gave him a real shape and said, yes, this is fine. But by the time when I was born, I can't say that I was born with a silver spoon, but at least in home, there were spoons. That much I can say. But my father also decided that because his communication was so poor, if he had to go to the bank, he had to take a friend and say, please come with me to the bank. If he has to go to a supplier or where you want to buy the goods, you'll take a person and say, come with me. If you want to get a letter done, say, can you please write me a letter? It was begging, continuous begging of support and help from others. So he decided that, look, it's better now that I understand that issue and I make very sure that my children, if their future has to be any different than my future, what I'm going through today, they must get educated. Now the question, my mother was illiterate. She started writing the first alphabet in our Gujarati language at the age of 53. The question is that, is there a possibility? Yes, there are possibilities, but you must have that strong will and strong determination.
Right.
And without that, it can't work. So he went, and then we were sent out to school. And during the wartime, there was a little bomb on the north of Kenya when Mussolini of Italy joined hands with Hitler. And it was next to Somalia. And it was Italian Somaliland. And so he dropped a little small bomb on the northern side, and the Asian community in Kenya got very disturbed. So we were all sent out to India. And this is another impression that I carry with me. When I landed in Mumbai, and when I saw the big avenues, when I saw 6-story, 7-story buildings, when I saw trams running on the streets, when I saw double-decker buses, and then this is not very long, it was some 1940s. So I asked myself, hey, what's the difference between us? The same color as the Indian color. We speak the same language. Then how come in Kenya, there's only 2 buildings of 2 stories? Is it, they're human beings just like us. If they can build all this, why can't we build? Now that was a big, what you say, a shock, at the same time, an awakening. And, and that is always a necessity, that you must get awakened and you must get, oh my God, if they can do it, oh, what's wrong with us? So I went to school in Jamnagar, which is in Saurashtra, Jamnagar state. And I did my matriculation. As I told you that I'm not a first class student. I did my matriculation. I passed that. And my parents said that you go to the university. Now to me, I couldn't understand. My mother illiterate, my father only three vernacular, my uncles also 3 or 4 vernacular. How would they think me and us going to the university? But my eldest cousin went to the engineering school in Pune. He was 2 years older than me, so he went ahead of us. And then myself and my brother went to Mumbai, and then my younger cousin came to us. And he went to Sidnam for commerce degree. I went to Ruya College in Mumbai. And so this was something which was very different in our mind. That how things change from Mombasa, from Nairobi, a little, well, I wouldn't say the hole in the wall, but it's almost nothing compared to what you see in Mumbai, what you see in India. So I went, and then we graduated. And as soon as we graduated, my eldest brother, who had also only done up to primary education, and my father and my uncles all decided that no, we should go for further education. So we were sent to United States. Now, when we landed in New York and went to a 65th story hotel on the 65th floor, the hotel was only 10 stories, but it was on the 65th floor. And the time difference. And we kept on asking ourselves, hey, but these are also human beings. They might not have the same color, but they're human beings. And you have to look up like this, you can't just don't look like this. You just have to look like that. If they can do all this, the skyscrapers, the 70-story, 80-story, 90-story buildings, and huge amount of manufacturing capacities, what's with us? What's wrong with us? And it then again put up another issue. There is no way, if you're determined, you will achieve it. That requires a very strong will. And without the strong will, the growth is not possible. And then we graduated from there, came back to Kenya. And I was very surprised that at that time, our partnership during the war, we had a lot of, we lost almost all our businesses because my parents and my wife's parents, we were the partners in India. Besides industries, they started speculating. And in 1943, during that period, we took the delivery of 2.5 crore rupees of silver in Jamnagar. Now, to me, to have 2.5 crore rupees of silver to be from all over India to be brought to Jamnagar, and that created also the problem with the government of India. The viceroy sent a man to the Maharaja. What's happening? We understand all this silver is being smuggled out to Germany or to other countries. And my uncle and my father-in-law at that time, it was not my father-in-law, but it was went to the Jam Sahib, and he showed the viceroy's men was sitting over there and said, these are our traders. And there's one long coat, another was only wore khadi. And he said, these are not the people who just do anything like that. It's business they're in. But in all this, that 10 years of our stay in India, 8 years, we lost quite a bit of our investments industry. So when we came back from education, after education in Mombasa, we had two businesses. One with a manufacturing company with 40 people, 40, and 6 members of the family on top. And when you go home, we are 36 members. And we had another business in Mombasa, in Nairobi, which was distribution of provision, a wholesale provision in the whole country. And also the Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, all the 3 countries. At that time, Tanganyika. So we kept, 4 of us came and joined this business, one after the other. And we felt, is this what we are going to do? I can certainly take I had already done my master's in engineering. I can certainly go and take a 9-to-5 job. And in no time, I'll become chief engineer of a company, or whichever the company that I join. And my brother and everybody would do something, a possibility that can be done. But this is most important part that happened in our lifetime. And that was during our time of college days. That was between 1944 and 48. Mahatma Gandhi was running Quit India movement. And as you know, hot young people in the university, you want to do everything. We joined his movement. But we had to pay a price for it. And that price was not easy. That price was, in a simple word, sacrifice. Sacrifice for everything that you want to get or to be done, you got to give sacrifice to achieve. You cannot do otherwise. And so that gave us a very strong lesson in our life. I remember by the time when our family decided we go to United States, I had 3 shirts, 2 pair of pants, 3 sets of underwear, and one set of socks. And that's all khadi. And we used to spin every day 1 hour. And if you don't spin that 1 or 2 days, then there'll be a patch on the shirt. That is the simplicity that we lived in and achieved, that if this man as Gandhi gave all his life for the independence of the country, what are we? We are just small flies. And that went into our mind, that the sacrifice is centered around when our parents worked hard, sent us for education, gave us the opportunity to go to the university, gave us the opportunity to go to the United States. What a jump from illiterate mother to jump. If they can do it, because of their big heart to say, yes, I want my children to succeed. That was this setup. And we then, after 6 months of arguing within the family, at least the 4 of us, we decided, whatever we do, this is our family. We will serve our family because the family has done so much for us. From nothing, they made us something. And they've given us all the necessary background. Now, I can certainly say that let's work for it. And from 40 people, in 4 years' times, we became, or 5 times, we became 400 people. It was simple, sheer hard work. 6 in the morning, reach to the factory 6:30, no Saturdays, no holidays. Everything has to go work, work, work. And use our brains and a possibility that how we can expand. So the vision that is necessary, that, hey, if we want to become somebody, That's, we can read about something, but when you see somebody and say, hey, this man has achieved something.
Manufai, let me interrupt. This is very, very inspiring. And I mean, I'm hearing some of the things for the first time, some of the aspects I've heard earlier, but
Yeah.
every time I get inspired. So, one question I have is that for grooming the next generation, younger generation, how do you inculcate these values? The values of respect, the values of sacrifice, values of hard work, values of trust, and many more. And you have been a living example of all these values. So, how do you? One of the challenges many of the people in the audience is that how do you inculcate these values and ensure that in the subsequent generations these are practiced?
It's living by example. You live what you believe in. You live and let the people look at you. And that's the simile of when I landed in Mumbai and I said, hey, color of my skin, color of this people, no difference. Look at where Mumbai is and look where Nairobi is.
But the
Similar
problem,
challenges.
I mean, Manubhai, the big challenge I have seen is that, I mean, you have seen the hardship, you have seen the hard work, and you have climbed the steps.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at the younger generation members, your grandchildren, I mean, who are all who have gone to Stanford or other places, highly educated and all, they are all very well to do, and they have everything available. I mean, comfort, luxuries, or whatever is there. And I mean, this what I'm seeing with many families is exactly this. So when it comes to the younger generation members, they find it difficult to inculcate the same values. I mean, they tell them that hard work is important, you have to go to work, and you have to respect others. Stewardship is very important, custodianship is very important. And this is how, I mean, there's a lot of storytelling about the grooming. So, how do you see this happening in your family?
Only by example, by showing them what's happening, showing what is Manu Chandaria doing. Let them look at it. If I am walking, and it's very difficult. As the money pile grows,
Yeah,
your feet grows and lifts away from the ground.
correct.
You need to make sure that you're cemented to the ground. The realities of life is what you see in hundreds and thousands of families that we've seen is as the money pile grows, they also lift themselves from, so they don't see the difference between, to them, they only see at this distance, at this level,
Hmm.
not at the level at you and me are living, but at 2 feet higher than you,
Right.
3 feet higher than you, 5 feet higher than you. Then you have no possibilities. So humility of your living examples
Right.
must be the reason to convince anyone. Convincing it cannot be by lecture, convincing by living. You must
Right.
be living an example which your children will pick up to make very sure that, hey, as we thought that our parents from nothing built something, then we got everything with us in terms of education, in terms of family, in terms, then what's wrong with us? So I think that that's a very important part is how can we push ourselves
Hmm.
in determined manner and keeping this holistic philosophical ideology that we must keep ourselves with and then move. But
Yeah,
you don't,
I remember you mentioning, showing your face, saying that this is the unity of the Chandaria family, and that's what is critical. And one of the things I remember is that you have family units living in different parts of the world, and you have a unique sort of grooming process, and where the familyness part of it is inculcated and uh, confirmed or adhered to. So, I mean, can you explain that process? How do you do that?
Yes. Yes. You see, we were only in Kenya,
Mm.
and we had a fortune of having a chairman who was an Englishman who had only whose father died at a very early age, and the mother was an actress. And he brought up his life behind the screen of listening to all the plays that mother and the plays that goes on the stage. And then the mother died, and he went through such difficult time, and that created in his mind that, look, I have to get out of this. I will get out of this. And he came, somebody called him to Kenya. So he came to Kenya. He was in Eldoret, some about 250 miles away from Nairobi. And he put the farm right. But then he said, look, I'm not a farm type of family member. I want to go to the city. I've lived all my life in the city. I want to go to Nairobi. He came to Nairobi. It's surprising he got the first job as a ticket collector at a theater. Now look at the ideology behind it. Being at the city and collecting tickets, he started knowing the families, white families, used to come to see the shows, their names, their first names, their wife's name, their requirements. And he will just go out of his way to ask, can I do something for you? Can I get you something? Out of the way. When he found out that he's now getting to a stage where people always look forward, oh, I want to go to the show, phone Vesi, and everything will be done. So he got to a control, and he found that, all right, I must serve my way. He then became a member of the council, of the city council, or municipality. And he went very nicely. Then he became a minister. Then he became a minister of finance before the end of the period of colonization. At that time, Tanganyika, Julius Nyerere wanted somebody to come and help him out. So he called him in 1961. And he went over there and set up his Ministry of Finance. Because of his work, he was then picked up by the World Bank. And World Bank made him head of.
For want of time, let me come back to this point about grooming the children across the continent. So, do you
Yes.
have a mechanism to make sure that the children who are living in different continents are connected? So, that's a big challenge now, especially with
Meeting.
globalization and family members are living apart.
We are meeting constantly. Regular meeting of the family, regular meeting of the businesses. Every 3-4 months, there'll be a meeting in London, there'll be a meeting in Nairobi, there might be a meeting in Singapore, but continuously keep on meeting and seeing them, staying with each other, not staying in the hotel, staying with each other. When my nephew sees me living with his father in London, sees me as a model, starts realizing that, hey, there's something beyond this. Now, to find what is beyond you is most important part.
Is that
And
practice continued even now?
Yeah, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, I see. Is it part of the constitution also? Is it
Well,
outside the constitution?
I'll just take a few minutes to read this one, a constitution. We don't have a
Yeah, please,
constitution.
please, please, please.
We don't have a constitution, but what we call is we have got a code of conduct.
Okay.
Okay. The code of conduct is says that to maintain a high moral code of conduct, honesty, and values. And all of us have a little card in our pocket, which is the what we call the code of conduct. Second item, to cultivate and strengthen the bond of trust in each other and in the family. This is not being taught, it's practiced. Number three, to recognize that continuing family security and growth flows from hard work, initiative, and frugality. The word frugality in today's mind of people, children, never comes.
But
Never.
do you have some prescribed limits or examples of frugality followed?
Yes, frugality means the needs that are there. And when I come down to the structure, that
Yeah.
at that time I talk about it. All right. To recognize, uh, no, that, to utilize human and financial resources collectively, not individually, not in pockets.
Mm-hmm.
To maintain family unity. It's not business. It's the
Right.
how the conduct. Then to maintain effective guidance for the family wealth. To maintain the pattern of decision making by consensus. It's very difficult, but always try to build a consensus of opinion.
Right.
To respect, honor, and follow. To respect, honor, and follow. All at all times, decisions arrived by the family. If the family decides Mr. Manu Chandaria moves from Nairobi to Singapore, there's no other way. To to respect, honor, and follow the leadership of the family. Again, this is very important because leadership causes always a problem. But to follow them, irrespectively, is which is being in this code over here. To practice individually and collectively the qualities of respect, tolerance, compassion, and humility. Now, nobody in our big families in the countries will ever talk about frugality. Nobody will talk about humility. Nobody will talk about compassion. Because these are the fundamental part from which the goodwill is grown. Goodwill is always grows from this
If
quality.
Manify, one question is that if somebody doesn't, I mean, they may accept all these things, and I mean, it's one of the challenges I've seen. Not only me and many others. I mean, particularly those who have, even people who have spent hours or months together to write a family constitution. When they write, they say that frugality, trust, caring, all those things are there. But when it comes to practice, how do you make sure that the younger generation
By example, you cannot convince a person by lecturing. You're going to convince a person when he walks in your life, when he lives in your life, and how he behaves.
and if someone doesn't fall in line?
The point is that at the end of the day, the person who does not fall in line loses quite a bit because our system is such that the wealth of Chandaria family is divided into two. One is the trust, which is known as welfare trust. It looks after the looking after of everything for the family, including the education, including the medical treatment, including the settlement, whatever is required, it's from the welfare. And then quite a bit of part is for charitable purposes, for philanthropy. Now, when you start thinking that you give scholarships to the people whom you have never seen, so what's wrong with your own family member? Generosity is a multiplier of ideology that you have got, and that ideology multiplies itself into 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to. That is what is required in the family. And that is easy to say, but difficult to act. But then who has to act? If I don't act, I don't expect my children is going to act. I don't expect that my cousin is going to accept. So it's living by example means if you are an example to the family, family will follow you.
Right. So therefore, another related question is, I mean, you mentioned in the beginning that not all the family members are part of the constitution, although they are part of the business. So
they're part, no, they're part of the welfare trust and business.
okay.
Yeah.
So those who are, I mean, out of the trust.
Yeah. There are 1 or 2. No, trust includes everybody.
Okay.
But you can be out, and there are a couple of examples where the children decided, no, they don't want to be a part of this, and went away.
But do they inherit the wealth again or access to the wealth?
No. There's nothing to, because nothing belongs to me.
Yeah.
Nothing belongs to me. But everything belongs to me because I have a whole portion. If anything has to be done for me, my welfare trust will do it.
Right.
Anything has to be, my children will be educated. That if I become sick, they will look after me.
Right.
So
Right.
it's an inbuilt, but to inbuild that ideology is by generosity.
Yeah, right.
By giving, not expecting and taking.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I mean, so what this the stewardship is practiced right across by everybody.
Everybody.
And one other thing is that is the storytelling part of this grooming process across the generation.
Absolutely, because the storytelling together with the example.
Yes.
When Mr. Manu Chandaria speaks, and the children then can read 50 different publications in which Mr. Manu Chandaria has been quoted or written, that makes a total difference in the whole attitude. That living one, it's difficult, but unless and until we put the foundation in such a way that yes, you are a part of everything and you are a part of nothing.
Right. And that's the younger generation members, if in many families these days they want to start something on their own. Okay. And one question very often raised is about the ownership part of it. Does it belong to the family or does it belong to the individual?
Everything belongs to the two trusts. There might be number of trusts within trusts.
Yeah, right.
Everything belongs to this. You ask Mr. Manu Chandaria, I have a bank account of which my family pays. That's it. And
If someone wants to start a business on one's own outside based on private funds, is there
but within the family structure, nothing outside the family structure. If he builds for himself, then it is not on. I didn't build the business for me. I built for a family which was X amount became Y amount. And the one who will be joining later on. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that means that, for instance, a younger generation member or any member who is starting something uh, using private funds will be eligible for all the benefits like the medical
Benefits are
institution.
always there because it's a trust.
It's a
We
family.
cannot,
So long as you are a family member alive, you are,
if it
yeah.
becomes,
And do you expect all family members to join the family business and work or not?
we would like them to join us, because if you don't grow a pie, if you don't grow the business,
Hmm.
being together to grow, single-handedly, I might be able to grow 10 times faster.
Right.
But to grow together, where you got some here, some there, it's not easy. But if they grow together, everything is there for you. And there's
Okay.
nothing for you also. When
Right.
I die, there's nothing that I have to pay, there's nothing that I have that they will be able to say, oh, this is the estate. Nothing.
Right. And one other question is about your interest in philanthropy. Which gives you more greater satisfaction? The time when you are running the business, building the business, growing the business, or you are driving the philanthropic initiatives full time. Earlier also you were involved, but now it is full time. What gives you more satisfaction?
The satisfaction is like this, that uh, you grow from something and you have an aim now. Now, aim is that if I'm doing everything for myself, then the family to start with is not there. If I'm doing for a group of people of my own family, and in my family, if I do for every one of them, and also I'm doing for somebody else outside,
Right.
that gives a totally different mental attitude. Now, generosity of heart and mind is most important to maintain the family and to work and improve the society. Both.
Right. And are the younger generation members either expected or encouraged to get involved in philanthropic initiatives?
Absolutely, absolutely. Right from the day one. When the kids are here, we will take them to the children's, we'll take them to the slums, we'll take them everywhere, because we want to expose them that there is a pain in the world. I might not have the pain. I might be one of those 2% or 3% in the world. But 7.5 billion people we are carrying on this earth. 60% have got pain. How do you realize that? And the minute you start talking to your children in that direction, that you have a potential, you have a possibility to improve the lives of others, then he starts thinking, oh, but this is mine. When you say that nothing is yours, and yet everything is yours. So I think it's a philosophy which is difficult to cultivate, but because by example they keep on seeing, they keep on living, they understand what's happening, they become a part of that.
So then, one other related question is that how do you address differences? I'm not talking about conflicts, the differences of philosophy, differences of priority, differences of interest.
Yes,
Is there a
yes, we have.
mechanism practiced by the Chandaria family?
The practice is like this, that, uh, w- at least in our stage, we have seen from this to this.
Hmm.
Many children are only born here. They have no idea what this, that it took us to build that. But the question is that when they see what you do,
Hmm.
that is the biggest impact in life. What you write, what you speak is the second impact. But to see what you are doing, the way you are living, the way you are behaving, that is the biggest impression on any younger mind.
But there
And
can be, I mean, differences
yeah,
in
yeah, fine, fine.
likes.
We can certainly expect. We have a. I agree to disagree with you.
Yeah.
I
But
disagree.
do you have a, I mean, either a family business forum, family business board,
Yeah, yeah.
or
Every few months we meet. Family as a whole meets every year. Whole children, father, mother, everybody. Some uncle is not some cousin was born in in Canada, and the guy lives in London, or guy lives in Singapore. But it is the time when they start seeing. Now, what do they see? They see two things. They see the strength of the family, generosity of the family, and examples of the family. Once they start looking at it, then they say, hey, there is something unique to this family. Unless you create a uniqueness within the family and family businesses, a unique attitude, it loses in interest. You can
right.
become very big and that lose interest. You got to keep that interest living, surviving.
But there can be, I mean, one of the other things I have come across is that increasingly people say that I have done this, I have done that, I have achieved this, I'm working harder than you. Okay. So how do you address this and ensure
Yeah,
that?
human nature is jealousy is a part of our life.
Correct.
So you cannot avoid it. But you make it such a way that the jealousy does not affect you. If you are eating in a porcelain dish, and he's also eating in a porcelain dish, then there is no jealousy about it.
Right.
As long as you keep the ground, everything for the same for everybody, whether he deserves or doesn't deserve, whether he creates money or doesn't create wealth, he's a member of the family. The minute he's a member of the family, your intentions and your responsibility is to maintain that person good, bad, sick, no sick, everything. But now
Right.
this is the one which is the most important part, which I see many a times in the Indian families, is generosity to ourselves, not to the outside world.
So do you have, I mean, is there a difference in terms of salary, remuneration, rewards, and
Yes,
all?
yes, yes, yeah, but then ultimately it all fix up, come to the same. When you start, it's a smaller salary. Then you grow up, and then you come to a stage where everybody is almost the same.
So do
Like,
you have a performance evaluation system?
no, no performance evaluation. What you do things, you get it. You don't do things, you get it. You get it because you are a part of the family. You
So
achieve.
who decides this, the reward system? Is it
The family decide that the funding. It said these are our income. These are our plans. These are our expenditure. And we feel that expenditures are getting far too uncontrollable, because expenditure is just like a gutter. You
right?
open the tap, it just runs. So you got to be very careful about that. You show them each one, and nothing to hide, because nothing is mine.
So do you have a committee, or because you have a large family living in
Yeah,
different?
yeah, yeah. Committed. They work on salary, but then they come down with a suggestion, and then they will discuss. Couple
So
of us. They
yeah,
discuss.
when I ask this, my question is also, who takes the final decision? Is it when you are the chairman, or are you
Con-
the person taking the decision, or is it?
consensus, consensus. I might disagree to agree to a consensus.
But
I
you
might.
can't have all the 55 members all sitting together, no? So
No,
how?
no, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes 55 members, but 55 members are only for to build the love and affection in the family. It's not to say, I've got this and I've not got this. It's a 17, 18, 16 members who are working. They put together, I don't agree with you, but the consensus is, I chair, I see that, all right, some of them says this, some of them says this, and I think that this is the one, many more of them are saying this. And the consensus to me is not by voting,
Okay.
is by feel, is by feel.
So this 16, 17 people are at the senior level, at the CEO level also in different companies, and that
Yeah, no,
forms the
no, no, no,
decision-making entity.
no CEOs at all. Everything is, because with so many companies to run, you cannot be a CEO of anybody.
Right.
You cannot be a CEO of an holding company. You cannot become, because it's not in your name. So you are an employee of a company wherever you are.
Yeah. But where I'm still not clear is that when you mentioned about 16, 17, or 18 member committee, are these representatives of either a same generation
No,
or
no, all generation, from oldest to youngest. The guy who joins the business is sitting there. I'm sitting there.
so the 17, 18 members, whoever is involved in business,
Ah,
they are all part of this committee and they work together and
work
take
together
the
to
decision.
make a decision. Yeah.
And whether it is business growth, divestment, acquisition, investment,
There's
reward,
always a
salary, or anything.
discussion going on. Say, for example, we got a hanger business.
Hmm.
Hanger is that where you hang the clothes.
Okay.
We're the largest hanger manufacturers in the world. We manufacture probably 1 billion plus hangers every year. So the hanger wants to expand, and then there's something else it does not want to expand, or he wants something which is not moving and still wants to expand. So, all right, you agree or disagree in the meeting. When everybody says no, it is necessary for him to try, it's necessary for us to go for that, fine. I disagree, but I agree what the consensus says.
Okay, very good. So one final question is, I mean, there are many questions and we have already overshot the time. One question is that do girls, I mean, I know that girls get, high quality education. Do the girls also get involved in the business or do they get equal
Not yet,
opportunity?
not
Sorry?
yet,
Oh,
not yet, not yet, but it will change, because now there are more girls in the family than the boys. Like my son has
uh,
got 2 daughters. My nephew has got 2 daughters. So like that, there are more girls now than the boys. And
right.
I don't think that, it suits us. The minute I start thinking that it does not suit us in today's world to say no to my sister or my niece or to my daughter or my granddaughter, I cannot.
Which is very good. So the,
So acceptance of what is fair,
yes.
is most important.
Right. So yeah, and the final point. I'm just going back to
Yeah,
the point of decision making,
yeah,
and one of the questions is also about that.
yeah.
Is do you? I mean, do you encourage the younger generation members to express themselves whether they like agree with the seniors or not in a
No,
meeting?
we don't press. No, we don't. Everything is open, available. They know it. We know it.
No. My question is, I mean, if I say, for instance, I'm a junior member and you are a senior member, and you have expressed your view, and I tend to disagree with you.
Yeah,
So,
so it's
am I,
okay.
yeah.
It, yeah, it might create me hot. I might just go out a little bit and then come back and cool down. That's it. There
But
are practical ways of doing it.
yeah,
Practical ways.
right.
It always happens when you're 16, 17 are talking, and some is talking from Geneva, somebody is talking from Toronto, somebody is talking from Nairobi. There's always going to be difference. But why are we here together anyway? The purpose of is not to create a differences between us,
Right.
is to make very sure that differences are put aside And the main vision of creation of wealth
Right.
and continuing to do the social work and making the family remain united is the main purpose.
Correct.
Main purpose is not only to make money.
Absolutely. So, Manubhai, it has been a great, great pleasure listening to you as always. And it's always a learning process for me, a lot of takeaways. I won't be able to summarize or the
Don't
whole
worry,
discussion.
worry.
I'll just reinforce a couple of points that the familyness, the, the faith in the family, faith in the togetherness, and cultivating the values of togetherness, including trust, hard work, frugality, caring part of it, and everything is together. And together we win, together we live, together we continue. I think that's the and that's very, very,
Absolutely.
very important. And keep communicating this again and again. And
Always open, always open.
yeah, and
Communication channels cannot be closed.
correct. It's an
Yeah.
openness, and that's what we say that the fairness is very important. And as things move on, you change your policies.
With fairness comes the generosity.
Correct. Absolutely. And
If you
generosity
are
is, I think, the fundamental thing. And the stewardship value, which is a commitment to the family, and that is expressed through the code of conduct, the policies, and the practices. So it's a combination of policies and the practices of
that's
these
right, that's right, that's right.
values code of conduct. And I think that's the secret of the success of the family living in different continents, but united by multiple links. And I think that's always growing. And we all wish you a very success, every success. Wish you a very long life, healthy life, and happiness always. And I've always been an admirer. I continue to be so and look forward to another interaction. So
Thank
thank you very much, Manubhai, once again. And thank you to all the people who have friends who have joined the conversation. And unfortunately, I could not attend to all the questions. I tried to address most of them as much as possible. And we have already overshot the time. So thank you very much, and good evening and good night. Thank you. Bye bye.
you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.